Meet Mia and Ava Carter, sisters, best friends, and basketball prodigies. From the outside, they seemed perfect. They were the kind of siblings others admired, envied even. But beneath the surface, something sinister lurked. They had lost their parents in a tragic accident when they were just children. A devastating car crash stole their mother and father in an instant, leaving them orphans with only each other to cling to. Through the years, basketball became their refuge. It was more than just a game. It was their escape, their purpose, their identity. It was how they coped with the unbearable loneliness, the empty space in their hearts where their parents once lived. Mia, the elder, was strong, disciplined, and hardworking. She trained relentlessly, pushing herself past exhaustion. But no matter how hard she worked, Ava was always a step ahead. Ava was a natural, faster, sharper, and more graceful on the court. She had an effortless charm, a way of making people gravitate toward her. Coaches adored her. Fans worshipped her. She was the golden girl, the prodigy who shined the brightest. And every medal she won, every triumph she achieved, she shared with Mia. Because to Ava, success meant nothing if her sister wasn't right there beside her. But for Mia, sharing wasn't enough. The comparisons never stopped. The more Ava succeeded, the more Mia was overlooked. Every newspaper article, every interview, every highlight reel, it was always about Ava. Mia was just the sister, the one in the background, the one people mentioned only in passing. She told herself she was happy for Ava. She forced herself to smile through the disappointment, to clap when Ava received another trophy, another scholarship offer, another endorsement deal. But inside, something ugly festered. At night, she would lie awake, staring at the ceiling, the words of the commentators playing in her head like a broken record. Ava Carter, unstoppable, untouchable, a once-in-a-generation talent. No one spoke about Mia like that. No one ever would. Then came the announcement. The Grand National Basketball Championship, the biggest tournament of the year. The winner would receive a contract with an elite international league, a dream come true, a gateway to greatness. Ava, of course, was the favorite. She would win. Mia knew she would, unless. The night before the competition, Ava was buzzing with excitement. She had spent weeks preparing, honing her skills, perfecting every move. She sat on the edge of her bed, running her fingers over the championship jersey with her name printed across the back. "Mia," she said softly, looking up at her sister. "No matter what happens tomorrow, we'll always have each other, right?" Mia forced a smile. "Of course," she whispered. "Always." She walked to the kitchen, her heart pounding. Her hands trembled as she reached into her bag, pulling out the small vial of poison she had purchased days ago. It was subtle, undetectable in taste, but enough to weaken Ava, just enough to keep her from playing. She mixed it into a sports drink, stirring slowly, methodically. Then, she carried it back to Ava, holding it out with a reassuring smile. "You need to stay hydrated," Mia said, her voice smooth and controlled. Ava took it without hesitation, without suspicion, because why would she ever doubt Mia? She drank deeply, and as she lay down to rest, the venom worked its way through her body. Ava woke up to a nightmare. Her limbs were weak, her stomach churned violently. Every attempt to stand sent her crashing back down. Panic set in. The competition was today. She had to play, but her body refused to cooperate. Mia stood in the doorway, watching, waiting. "I don't know what's wrong with me," Ava whispered, tears forming in her eyes. Mia took a slow step forward, her expression unreadable. "Maybe it's nerves," she replied, too calm, too composed. "Maybe you should sit this one out." And just like that, the door to Ava's dreams slammed shut. With Ava out, Mia stepped in. She played like never before. She was fast, fierce, unstoppable. The crowd chanted her name. She won the championship, the contract, the life that was meant for Ava. For the first time in her life, Mia was chosen. But as she stood on that podium, gold medal glistening, her hands trembled. Because in the shadows of the arena, Ava watched. And she knew Ava's condition worsened. She was rushed to the hospital, and the tests revealed everything. The poison, the betrayal, the The truth unraveled like a frayed thread. Mia's world collapsed. The whispers turned to accusations. The media swarmed. The contract was revoked. And before she knew it, she was in handcuffs, staring at the one person she had tried to destroy. Ava, frail but standing, met her sister's eyes. "Why?" she whispered, tears streaming. Mia had no answer, because there was no reason good enough. As Mia was led away, the cameras flashed, the world watched. Ava should have felt relief, but something didn't feel right, because just before Mia disappeared into the darkness, she turned to Ava and whispered, "You still don't get it, do you? This isn't over. It will never be over." Mia sat in the cold, dimly lit interrogation room, her hands trembling as they rested on the table. The weight of her crime pressed down on her like an iron cage. Across from her sat Detective Harris, his gaze sharp, unwavering. "We have the toxicology report, Mia," he said, his voice calm but firm. "We know what you did." Mia swallowed hard. Her once proud posture had collapsed into a shrunken shell of the confident athlete she had been just days before. The cameras, the cheers, the victory, it had all been a fleeting dream. Now, reality was closing in. Ava, still recovering in her hospital bed, watched the televised interrogation from her room. Bandages wrapped around her frail arms. The foredrip beside her pulsing like a slow drumbeat. She wanted to hear the truth from Mia's own lips. She needed to know why. Mia exhaled sharply, her fingers curling into fists. The silence stretched between them, heavy, suffocating. Finally, her voice cracked as she whispered, "I did it." Tears slipped down her face as she continued. "I couldn't take it anymore. I trained just as hard. I gave everything, but it was never enough. You were always better, Ava. Always chosen. And I just wanted my chance." Detective Harris leaned forward. "So, you poisoned your own sister? The one person who trusted you the most?" Mia let out a quiet sob. "I didn't want to kill her. I wanted her to miss the game. Just one game. Just once, I wanted to feel what it was like to be the best." Ava shut her eyes, grief and disbelief washing over her. The sister she had loved more than anything had nearly destroyed her, not out of hate, but out of something even darker. Desperation. Mia was arrested and formally charged with attempted murder. The news spread like wildfire. The Golden Girl, the rising basketball star, was now a criminal. The sports world recoiled. Her contract was revoked, endorsements pulled. The headlines screamed of betrayal, of sister turning against sister. Ava, meanwhile, focused on healing. The poison had left her body weakened, but her spirit burned with determination. The Grand National Basketball Championship had been tainted by Mia's crime, and in an unprecedented move, the committee decided to reorganize the competition. Ava was given a second chance, a chance to reclaim what was stolen from her. The night of the rematch arrived, and the stadium was electric with anticipation. Ava walked onto the court, her heart pounding. This time, she wasn't just playing to win. She was playing to prove that she was more than what had happened to her. The game was fierce. Every pass, every dribble, every shot, she played with an intensity she had never felt before. The crowd was on their feet, roaring her name. She was back. She was unstoppable. But then, a crack split the air. Ava barely registered the sound before the pain seared through her hand. A bullet. A gunshot. She staggered back, clutching her hand as blood dripped onto the polished court. Screams erupted from the audience. Chaos. People ducked, scrambled for cover. Security officers swarmed the stands, searching for the shooter. Ava's teammates rushed to her side. The pain was blinding, but her mind was racing. That shot wasn't meant for her hand. It was aimed for her heart. As she was rushed off the court, her vision blurred, but she forced herself to stay conscious. She needed to know who was behind this, because deep inside, she had a terrifying suspicion. In the chaos, she locked eyes with a figure in the crowd. A woman, handcuffed, being dragged away. Mia. And on Mia's lips was a ghost of smile. The answer would change everything. Ava lay in a hospital bed, staring at the ceiling, her mind spinning. The pain in her hand throbbed, but she was alive. Alive. The bullet that was meant for her heart had miraculously missed, lodging in her hand instead. A fraction of a second had saved her life. She should have been relieved. She should have felt victorious. But something gnawed at her. Mia was in prison, and yet someone had still tried to kill her. The authorities launched an intense investigation. The entire stadium had been locked down immediately after the shooting, and security footage was meticulously reviewed. Witnesses were interviewed. The forensic team analyzed the trajectory of the bullet, and eventually, they had their answer. The shooter was identified, Ryan Matthews. Ava's stomach twisted at the name. She knew him. She had seen that smug face before. He had tried for months to get close to her, pretending to be charming, pretending to care. But Ava had seen through him. His interest in her had never been genuine. It had always been about what she could offer him: status, fame, money. She had turned him down, over and over again. And now, he had tried to kill her. It didn't take long for the police to track him down. He had been hiding out in a motel on the outskirts of town, but there was nowhere to run. They stormed in, weapons drawn, pinning him to the ground as he screamed. "It wasn't my idea. I was just following orders." The officers exchanged glances. Orders? From who? Then the answer came. Mia. Ryan broke under interrogation. The moment the detectives cornered him, he spilled everything. Mia hated Ava. She wanted to destroy her. She was furious after getting caught for the poisoning, but she couldn't do anything from prison. So she contacted me. He admitted, his voice shaking. She knew I was angry. She knew I wanted revenge too. She told me if I helped her, we'd both win. Ava would be gone, and Mia would have nothing left to lose. The betrayal cut deeper than any wound. Even from behind bars, Mia had found a way to strike again. Ava sat in silence as Detective Harris relayed the information. Her own sister had conspired, again, to take her life. This wasn't just jealousy anymore. This was pure hatred. Tears welled in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. With overwhelming evidence, Ryan was charged with attempted murder. The trial was swift. The footage, the ballistic reports, his own confession, it all sealed his fate. He was sentenced to 25 years in prison. But the case wasn't over. Mia's involvement had been uncovered. Her original sentence was extended. The judge showed no mercy. Life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. The courtroom was silent as the verdict was read. Mia, once a star athlete, once the sister Ava had loved more than anything, stood in chains, her expression unreadable. Ava forced herself to meet Mia's eyes, but what she saw wasn't remorse. It wasn't regret. It was emptiness. Ava did not return to the court immediately. The physical wounds healed, but the emotional scars ran deeper. The game she once loved now carried memories of pain, of betrayal, of near death. But she wasn't done. She wouldn't let Mia take this from her too. Months later, when she stepped back onto the court, the crowd roared. This time, the cheers weren't just for her talent. They were for her survival. And as she took her first shot, sinking the ball through the hoop with perfect precision, she knew this was not the end of her story. It was only the beginning.